Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Ibadan. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun.
And Emmanuel Akpo, thank you for joining us this Wednesday morning. Exactly.
And today we intend to take you through a particular discussion. We are going to be discussing that for Trend Watch this morning. And the focus is on your state acquisition of 2 surveillance aircraft delivered by Governor Seyi Makinde to strengthen security across the state.
The aircraft are expected to boost area surveillance and support security operations across the state. The development has sparked discussions on its impact in tackling crime and improving public safety.
Exactly. Will this investment make a real difference in addressing insecurity in your state? And that's a very good question. We'll be discussing that for Trend Watch after the newspaper headlines and analysis this morning.
Then in a short while, we also bring you today's headlines and newspapers making the rounds across the country, where we examine the major stories making the rounds across politics, governance, security, business, and the economy. Joining us for that segment is Olukunle Durodolu, a public affairs analyst who will provide insights into the day's top headlines.
Exactly. Now, after then, we come back to conclude the program with a recap of the major stories and conversations shaping public discourse.
And that's, of course, this morning is the time to focus on security, governance, and the measures being taken to protect lives and property in our very own state, or your state.
Welcome to Daybreak Live. We take a short break now. When we come back, we move on to newspaper headlines and analysis with Oluwapo Edo, and of course, our analyst this morning, Olukunle Durodolu. Please stay with us.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
For every new day, there is a new story, and that's exactly the situation across the Nigerian geopolitical zone, across the state, Nigerian state generally. We have different stories and breaking stories and developing stories as well to touch on this morning. Welcome to this segment of newspaper headlines and analysis, where we check into the print and bring you stories fresh from the press. Like I would say, this morning I'm not going to be doing this alone. I'm joined with Mr. Drew Dolu, joined us this morning. Good morning to you, this beautiful cold morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you taking the cold this morning? I hope it's not too unbearable.
When you take something hot, it keeps you warm.
Something hot. There's one hot thing that is in starchy. There's another that is in cup. Which one are you?
The one in the plates.
Whichever way. So let's get into the stories. Of course, like many stories are breaking and of interest to me, because I do like to start with insecurity stories. But what do we say? Tinubu orders manhunt, vows cardinal killers will pay dearly. We're going to talk extensively about security today, and that's also because there's a development in the state that we currently are, or your state, and it's something to think about and to talk about really. Tinubu orders manhunt, vows cardinal killers will pay dearly. That story is on the front page of Daily Times newspaper this morning, and exactly the case we've seen, especially when it comes to insecurity across the country. I think this is not even the first time we've seen this. For every time there's an insecurity in the land, maybe something happened, and then the next thing we're going to expect is that the president will say, the president decries this dastardly acts or this behavior and calls it unacceptable. But after that statement, there seems to be not so much progress, because one story will lead to another story. Just when you were describing the Kaduna case, you also get to know that another has happened in Benue, and then you ask the question, the president also said this is unacceptable. What does it mean by unacceptable? Does it mean that it will not happen again, or it will still continue, and then we'll keep giving our word to say this is unacceptable? But here we are again. Tinubu orders manhunt, vows Kaduna killers will pay dearly. So my question is, do you think the killers will pay dearly?
Insecurity from the way we are looking at it, we need to first of all track the problems to the root before we can find a way to solve the problems. Over the years, many years ago, when Nigeria got our independence, then I would always make sure that all the Southwest children attend schools, and this gets them productive. But in the North, they don't have that. They did not embrace education. What they do is to give birth to children indiscriminately, push them to the streets to be doing almajiri and be begging for arms. And these are now the product that bandits can easily recruit. So it has now become a full-blown problem on our head. And the solution from my own point of view is that we must address the process that is producing these bandits. If we don't address it from the root, we will be cutting the head, but it will continue to spring up. Many of the northern states, they're still busy organizing mass weddings for people who are unproductive, who are not educated, who are not trained, and they cannot sponsor a wedding. If you marry off people, if you use state money to marry people who cannot afford it, who cannot even afford to start a family, they will continue to give birth to children they can't train. And these children will now be in the streets, and they can be easily recruited by bandits. So that's where the problem lies.
But I think this is, let me even provide the context to why I'm asking this question. Because it's a way to maybe verify or to vet what the president has said. This is not the first time, right? And just recently, one of the aspirants for the post of presidency in the country said they have a way to go about insecurity in the country. He even promised that if the North can trust them with what they have on board, then they'll be able to, I'm talking about Peter Obi, they'll be able to address this insecurity and bring it to a total halt. So that's exactly the claim. So it's one claim, the president is saying...
Anytime Peter Obi talks, I always marvel because he tells lies like he will get a reward for it.
Peter Obi tells lies.
He tells lies like he will get a reward for it. The youth that were killed when he was the governor, did he find any solutions to it? During his time as a governor, many kidnappings took place. Did he find solutions to it? He liked talking, and most of the time when he talks, he said things that are completely off the beat, things that during his time he could not do.
So you think he cannot handle insecurity?
Anytime you ask Peter Obi what he will do, he'll be referring people to Bangladesh, to China. Why is he not referring to people to his 8 years in office? That during my 8 years, these are the challenges. These were the things I did to solve the problems. He will never refer you to his 8 years because those 8 years were nothing to write home about. So he keeps on making promises that he will never keep. In fact, some of the promises, he will even contradict himself. About a month ago, he said he will generate 10,000 megawatts. But day before yesterday, or the interview he granted just during the last weekend, he said he cannot. It is impossible to generate electricity.
24-hour power.
He said it is impossible.
But I think he did not go back on his word of the 10,000 megawatts that he promised.
He said it is impossible to build those power plants in 4 years.
But he said he wants to use 4 years if he was given the opportunity.
So how is he not going to solve the problem?
So you don't believe...
Here is somebody who jumps from one party to another, and if you ask him why, he will be saying he's jumping from party because they put trouble. Anytime there is trouble there, he will run away. And he wants to rule Nigeria that has a lot of troubles.
But sorry, let me ask you, how do you think, or how do you know that Peter Obi is not a good fit for presidency? Because
his 8 years as a governor is nothing to write home about. He cannot even boast of it.
Is it not true that all things are passed away? Maybe he's a new man now. Maybe he has learned so much in the space.
So we should not entrust Nigeria to somebody who is not well tested, who doesn't have any antecedents of leadership.
He was a governor in Anambra.
And he could not tell us one specific thing he achieved. The last interview he granted, they asked him did he be he should name the schools he built. After he rambled, he said he cut grasses of one university. He did not build any school for 8 years. There was an interview where they asked him about the schools he built. He said he didn't build any school. Later he said he did more than building schools. He cut grass.
Yeah, but
and
okay.
Is that not funny? Is that not laughable?
Mr. Drew, let's take it.
The interview is there.
Let's take it a step away from
his mob, his social media mob that usually attack anybody that asks for Peter Obi's achievements. They have nothing to do than to attack you. They are social media mob. People dare them on social media that what kind of people are these? Right. You ask them to tell us what you achieve. Let me tell you the man you are supporting. What are the things he has done before? No, they cannot tell you he built hospitals. They cannot tell you when he was the governor, the doctors went on strike for 13 months. These are there. So if you are not coming from and till now, he has not fixed a single political party. Anytime he gets there and there's crisis, he will be jumping from. He has run from so.
Things are not so profound, right? They are not things that can be trusted. But who can be trusted? Can anybody else be trusted to end insecurity in the country?
We need to continue to tackle, face the problem in it. Engage more soldiers, acquire more arms. State police will be approved very soon. When they come on board, they will be able to do more.
But people are dying in numbers.
Yes, they will continue to die because the process of producing these terrorists has not abated. And it's not only in Nigeria, the entire Sahel region is bedeviled with these problems.
So in your opinion, what to do is to tackle it from the roots?
Yes, we have to. If we don't stop the process of producing children indiscriminately, the terrorists will be able to, they will still have easy recruits on the streets. And if you observe now, most of the boys that are committing these atrocities are very young boys now. Because they are easily on the road, you can recruit them easily. And until we are able to stop that process, make sure we send people to school, make sure our people are taught on the basic things. Otherwise, these people don't value lives. I've seen somebody who was released by kidnappers some time ago. I feel very sorry for the man. And I don't, if we have our ways, I don't want the problem to continue. But then, until we solve the problems from the foundation, it will still be there. We may, if we, of course, if we engage state police, we acquire more ammunition and we double up on our efforts, we will keep it under manageable level. But then, to really stop these problems, we have to stop the problem of, we had these boys that people recruit can be stopped. If these people have educations, they will not constitute nuisance on the streets.
All right. I think one of the valid points you've made is ammunition. We need to strengthen the security architecture, the security formation in the country. And I think that's profound. And maybe that will lead us to Oyo State. Just yesterday, the news broke. Of course, we've heard it before. The governor said they are trying to work on 2 areas of surveillance. I think manned vehicles, right? Manned air vehicles, those kind of. And then we saw the landing yesterday. Impressive. I think they said it had come about a week before, and then they were trying to assemble it in Lagos at the Air Force headquarters in Lagos and all of that. And that seems to be a development. I want to know where you stand. You've mentioned that these are one of the things we can do to get us a step ahead. Better
late than never. I read some of the abilities of the drone yesterday. I am impressed. If we have something like that can stay between 8 to 10 hours in the air to conduct surveillance, it will help. Yes, it will help the security architecture of the state. And it's not only Oyo State that should get it. All other states too should acquire something that can help the security situations. Every state, whether they like it or not, they will be managing the state police very soon. So they need to find a way to produce, to get them equipped. Because without modern equipment, you cannot tackle security situations effectively. Getting people to run into the bush and be running after criminals is obsolete. It cannot tackle security in the 21st century. We need to get modern equipment. We need to have satellites in the sky that can map an area and tell us whoever is hibernating there, so that we can quickly visit the place and find out if they constitute any threat. We can easily uproot it immediately. So we cannot just rely on the 19th century strategy to solve security in 21st century.
All right.
We need to get ammunition, we need to get equipment.
I was thinking, something got me thinking all through the 90 years, and I was thinking about why has it been so difficult to do the same approach that happened in Oyo State, especially with the rescue and then now the area surveillance? Why has it been so difficult to do or to replicate that in some other part of the world, of the country, like the northern state, the northeast, the northwest? Why is it difficult to do?
Different. The problems may look similar, but the approach to tackle them may be different.
What makes the context different?
I can't say. I'm not a security expert, so I cannot really tell us in details what only the security people can say. I can only talk from a layman's approach. What I know is that Southwest will not. Our people are educated, and our approach to security will be different from the North, where at least you will not see any of the Southwest kings organizing mass wedding for anybody here. It still happened in the North. Even as at last week, they will remove state money to organize mass weddings for people who cannot afford it. By next year now, these people will begin to give birth to children they cannot train. So at the end of the day, more bandits will be raised through that process. So we need to strengthen our education so that when people know they are right from wrong, there are some things they will not do. Southwest here, the people, the moment Orire incident happened, everybody have the instinct to protect their society and environment. And from there, even people living in the villages, they begins to they engage the local hunters. Everybody, the Amotekuns, everybody around.
All the security formations.
We are security conscious because we cannot tolerate such things. But up north, you will not see such reactions.
Because they can tolerate it.
It's a sign of tolerance. If you cannot tolerate something, the approach will be different.
All right. Let's take it to the federal government now. There's this particular story on the Punch newspaper that is of interest to every Nigerian, and that's about borrowing. Now, the Punch has it this way. Federal government overshoots borrowing limit as new debt reaches 12.6 trillion naira. Government misses revenue targets by 4.9 trillion naira despite higher non-oil earnings. And maybe just a brief into that as well. Budget deficit balance by 47% above projection. Fresh loans bankroll 36% of 2024 spending, budget office report. That's all of this are not very wonderful information and data and figure to look at this morning, especially now that the whole world is talking about Nigeria being in a debt situation. It's like a river of debt that we are still swimming, and it seems like there's no end to this. But again, we have this that overshooting borrowing. Just a few weeks ago, Taiwo Udili was speaking to the Senate, and then they explained some of the things that they were doing and some of the loans and the borrowings they have not even started using and all that. And a lot of persons felt a bit of calm, like, okay, you guys have not started using this. There's still a lot that you're still bidding for. You're bidding for it. You don't have it yet and all that. But it seems like where we are going is going to get us nose diving down to the very what they call rock bottom, and I think we should not even aim for this. But what do you say about this, all this, especially this present administration?
Number one, borrowing is part of ecosystem. The danger is it judicially managed. If we want to borrow, we use it to build our economy. There is nothing wrong in that. I've seen countries, many countries are brought to that are very prosperous, but they borrow money. If the money is not stolen, there is nothing wrong when you borrow. Because once you borrow money, it will inflate your economy, and you'll be able to do a lot of things with it. Because when you execute contracts, when you execute projects, that's one of the ways you put money to the pockets of everybody. Because people will work on that project, they will earn money, they will make purchases, people will do a lot of things in that environment, and the economy will be inflated. The danger is, number one, people who borrow us money, they have to look into our books to be sure that we have the ability to pay back.
Money also going, where is it coming? Because it's also part of the allocation of this administration.
CBN said they've not released any money to that to that fake agency.
Phantom agency.
Yes. Yeah. So the man has been arrested. The case is in court. So we have to wait for the outcome of the court.
So you think this administration is doing well by the books and by the people?
I cannot say. I have not audited their accounts. What I am just explaining generally is that when you borrow to execute projects, it will make your economy to be robust. And once you see, I find it difficult when people talk about borrowing. The reason is we are in a country where we have revenue problems. We are in a country where just about 20% pay taxes. And we don't want government to borrow. And a lot of people think that Nigeria is an oil-producing country, that we have oil. Yes, we do. But how much of that can really solve our problems? A population of 230 million people, we only sell, even as at this morning, from the last record I checked, we can only sell 1.7 million liters by 1.7 million barrels per day. Saudi Arabia, their population of about 30 million people, they sell 10 million barrels of crude per day. So can we make that comparison and see that we are completely not going to benefit anything significant from oil? It's about time people begin to see that they have to pay taxes. We are in a country where education is highly subsidized, health is highly subsidized. We want almost everything for free, and we don't want government to borrow. How? I don't know how. New York is just about 20 million people. Their budget per year is around $250 billion. Nigeria, as it is today, we have 230 million people. Our budget is about 50 billion. And we want everything for free. Even in New York, even in America, where they sell abundance of crude per day in millions, you don't see them offering education for free. Education is expensive, health is expensive, people pay for it. But in Nigeria here, we want everything free with our lean resources. So how that will happen, I don't know. I don't accept any magic happen. How that will happen, I don't know.
All right.
There are certain realities that we have to face. If we don't want government to borrow, we have to pay taxes. About 80% of us have to be paying taxes regularly. That's the only way to solve revenue problems. A lot of infrastructure deficits, we want them fixed. We want we don't want the doctors to travel abroad. We want them well paid, and we don't want people to pay for medicals. We want it highly subsidized. We don't want our lecturers to go. We want them to be well paid, and we don't want students to pay
Premium.
We don't want to pay value for money on our educations. So how will these things happen? Before we make before we ask for some of the things we ask for, we should also make comparison with those countries we want to envy. The sacrifices they make in America, we don't want to make it, but we want Nigeria to be like in Europe. How possible is that?
All right. Let's switch over to state policing now. Everybody's talking about it's a development, and we agree. But yes, there are different reforms, and a lot of persons are still at loggerheads as to, especially at the reps and Senate at some point. Governors must control CPs, that's Commissioner of Police. Southern and Middle Belt leaders insist. I want to know where you stand. They said governors must be in charge of the Commissioner of Police in their states and all of that. And so that's what Southern and Middle Belt leaders have come out to say. Do you also agree to that?
Yes, that is the aim of creating state police in the first place.
But does it not take the power?
Some of the governors begin to say that they don't have power over security. That's why they could not be able to tackle insecurity effectively. Now that they advocated for state police, and we are now at the state of granting that request, it is going to be wise to give them power to control police under their domain. So that insecurity is local. Things that are happening within a particular locality can only be tackled with people who understand the terrain better. So it's a good idea if we grant them the power.
Mr. Drew,
we should also put control.
Exactly.
Because we've seen them abuse this, like in Osho now. Many allegations are flying around that they are Motekun. They are involved in political attacks. And many allegations of such has been made, and the governor has not disproved it. So we should put tight control so that governors will not abuse that power.
You know, I think that's very profound too, because there's been that case that there's a chance for governors to now use this old power for their personal use and probably just, especially for political situations, and just take over everything and say, oh, yeah, every police officer, you must answer to my call and all of that. But that's one of the things that's still being discussed, and we hope that they get it right in that sector as well.
I hope so too.
Of course, many other things. You know, there's supposed to be a sit-in today, and then police silent as reps ultimatum on fake agency DG expires today. We know there's supposed to be a sit-in. They're supposed to invite him.
I think I read somewhere yesterday where IGP said he will produce the man today.
So we should keep our fingers crossed and
yes,
see.
so
because he was represented by one of his subordinates, and then they said he himself should produce the fake DG of that fake agency, and that's one of the things we're still looking at.
We await
his appearance.
His appearance today and what IGP will do, because he said the guy is in their custody and he has promised to produce him. So we await his appearance today.
Of course, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what becomes of that. We want to say a very big thank you to you today, Mr. Drodolu, for joining us in the studio and for giving your insights on the topics we've actually stretched out this morning.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
And of course, we will now switch over to the next segment, which is Trend Watch, but that will be shortly after this break. Stay with us.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916.
Thank you for staying with us. And it's time for Trend Watch this morning, and we are discussing this particular development in your state. Speaking about the two aircrafts that arrived in Ibadan yesterday, and people are talking about it. Nigerians are asking questions, but before we discuss it properly, we also need to take a look at the video very quickly, and then we move on with the conversation.
Good afternoon. Thank you. How was it? I said it's like when you have a new car, yes, sir. You don't want to get out of it. Yeah.
Sound engine, smooth lights.
Okay.
Issue will happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Really appreciative of
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705
Welcome you back from that video, and of course we've seen the video and the interaction between the governor and of course the expert in that particular environment yesterday. And then according to the governor, he said they paid for the aircraft around last year, around July 8 last year, and then the aircraft arrived Lagos around July 10 this month. And according to the governor, he made a promise that he will ensure that the aircraft is available in Ibadan before the end of July, and that was what happened yesterday. And also we need to talk about quite a number of things about the aircraft. Diamond DA42 MNG multi-purpose platform. They are not fighter jets, because a lot of persons are asking questions if they are fighter jets. They are designed mainly for intelligence gathering, for surveillance, for reconnaissance, more like eyes in the sky. And then one thing that I also need to reiterate this morning is the fact that it's a good development. It's going to expose us to quite a number of things, expose us to a combination of security personnel, of technology, aerial intelligence, and then it becomes combustive for the country. People are also asking questions, will it be available for state apart from your state? I think that's a question that the state governor, or let me say the state government, will have to answer. And then what can they do? Speaking about this aircraft, day and night surveillance, which is very important, thermal imaging to detect its signatures, high-resolution video recording. And then the reason why this high-resolution video recording is very important is because we need high quality of videos. Just like when somebody wants to send something to you, maybe on any platform like WhatsApp, you tell them HD because you want it to be in high quality. So that's a bonus for us. Then monitoring forest and remote communities, tracking suspicious movement, live transmission of images to command centers, supporting search and rescue operations. That's also part of it. Border and highway monitoring. And then how will they improve security? That's another question that people are asking. Instead of waiting until criminals have attack certain places, just like the Oriri, and I think the governor also mentioned it, that they didn't plan for the Oriri abduction, but then it happened, but they paid for this even before the abduction, and that the amount is about 7.76 billion naira. That's a lot of money. So definitely Nigerians are hoping that it will improve the situation of this insecurity that is going on in Oyo State. So over to you, and what do you make of this particular aircraft that just arrived in Ibadan?
Well, I think, like I would always say, it's a development. I want to say a very big thank you to the state government for fulfilling what he said he was going to do. And it's, of course, a question, maybe a challenge to every other state to say, if one state is doing, well, Oyo State is known to be a pace-setter state, right? Very impressive. And now they are pace-setting in terms of security. That is exactly what we want to see. We want competition between different states. This state has done well in this, how can I better this? So everybody, let's compete and let's do well. And I think it's a fair competition to have. But I think 3 years ago, 2 years ago, if I remember, I was at the State House of Assembly in Oyo State, and the conversation was about whether or not they should clear the forest in the Old Oyo National Park and some other forest zones we have in the state. And a lot of lawmakers voted for the deforestation of our environment. And I was surprised, except I remember It was the speaker, Daybreak, and I'm saying this with every fact because I was correspondent in the House at the time, that he said to them that we cannot take out the trees in the forest just because hoodlums are hiding in those places. And he gave reasons, for example, the environmental situation, the ambience, the ecosystem and all of that. If you do that, you disrupt the ecosystem. And by that, you don't want to know what happened in 1980 in your state, which was it was even called a national disaster. The Ogunpa flooding was as a result of some trees that were cut in a particular place. So if you are a student of research, you discover how this is important. Now, this is taking a step ahead of the lawmakers who wanted the forest to be cut. So now say, instead of cutting the forest, why don't we implement technology, surveillance to help us? And I said this just some weeks back too, that I spoke with somebody who is in I think it's in the space of intelligence in the US, and he told me that these things are not as deep, that they are just normal things. There's something called thermal imagery that could help you detect the exact location, the coordinates of a particular people inside a particular place, and so you don't need to stress over it. And I think we are waking up. I think that's one of the things I would say. We are waking up to the realities that we are currently facing, and exactly 2026 is the time you think about technology, AI, innovation. You can't just sit and be waiting for your soldiers' foot on the ground to go and do it. No, that's obsolete. Like Mr. Drew also said, we need to take it a step further and do better in terms of security and all of this engagement that we're having. I love this, but I'm also praying that we have this replicated across the regions of this country, that someday security will be enhanced in our country, and then we'll be able to say, oh yes, we've done something about security, something that would bring an end to insecurity generally.
Right. Just to conclude, I think you made a very good point, speaking about other state as well. And I think, part of the question that people are asking is to say, will your state partner with other state in case they need something like this, maybe to borrow? I think that's a question that your state government will need to answer. But beyond that, I think it can serve as a good example to other state as well. And so we've mentioned the advantages of this aircraft. I mean, numerous. We really cannot even talk about everything. And then we also need to talk about effectiveness. How can we ensure that we don't just waste money? Because I know that you can have very good equipment, but if you don't have good hands to handle that equipment, you might not really see changes like that. And then speaking about effectiveness, we must ensure that skilled operators will handle these aircraft. That is very important, because according to the governor, they arrived in Lagos July 18, and they had to wait to carry out some things before they actually brought it down to Ibadan yesterday. So skilled operators must handle this, professionals, people who have the experience, and then quick response by ground security personnel. Maintenance of the aircraft is also very important. Just like you said, it's not fighter jet. It's quite different. It can do night and day surveillance and things like that. Coordination among security agencies. There should be a symbiotic relationship, between the people that will handle the aircraft and, of course, all the security personnel, like the Amotekun, like the DSS, like the police officers. Very important. We should not just leave it to the people that will be handling this aircraft to say, we have aircraft. Why are we stressing again? No, we should not decide to say we want to rest or we want to relax because we now have the aircraft. It should there should be a synergy between the people that will be handling the aircraft and, of course, all the security personnel. That's when we can achieve much. If not, we might really not see much. And then 7.76 billion naira is a lot of money. Trust me, it's like the entire budget of some countries. Some don't even have up to that. So it's a lot of money, and then we need to make good use of it. So intelligence, just like I said, it will expose us to security personnel, and then technology, area intelligence. It becomes combustive. That means we have more than enough now to tackle insecurity, this menace in the society. I just want to believe that, according to the governor, they want to make sure that the right persons will handle the aircraft. And looking at it yesterday, trust me, a lot of people were very happy. Even people that are not indigent of your state, they were very happy about the development, because a lot of persons were asking the governor when will it arrive, things like that. To even mention that the governor said it will arrive before the end of July. Yesterday was 28th of July, so a lot of persons were waiting to say, okay, you said end of July, today is 28th, so we are how many more days before we are done with July? But then the aircraft arrived yesterday, and I think it's a good development. Yes, just like you mentioned, other states should also follow suit. They might not get two if they cannot afford it. They can get one, and then we should ensure that the right hands we undo the aircraft. That is very key, because if we can afford 7.76 billion naira aircraft, I want to believe that we can pay I mean, the right people that will handle this aircraft. Let's not say, oh, we want to economize. Let's hire the right people that can give us the best result. Basically, I think that's a fine place.
I will also add to that briefly, and I would say that for every development, for every innovation you see, for every aircraft that is being bought at an exorbitant price or whichever way, at a price, it was built somewhere. And that's also and those places were not, it's not Venus, it's not Mars, it's not Jupiter, it's not Uranus. It's also in this earth, this world that we are. There are countries who have devoted themselves into building this kind of thing. So they get our money. And we pay a lot of money to. I'm thinking, can we not build these things? I've been to universities across this country, a lot of universities. I've seen what we have there. And that's why a lot of persons are saying education is not helping us as much as it should in this country. Research, innovation, those are the bedrocks. If you check every universities across the world, one thing they are known for is research. One thing they are known for is to work with the government to build things that they will need. The drones detector, the drones that they are flying across Ukraine is being built somewhere in Ukraine. Why is Nigeria still celebrating? I know this is worthy of celebration, don't quote me wrong. But what I'm saying is, instead of just waiting for days for it to be assembled in Lagos, waiting for days to purchase the 7.76 billion, like you said, can we invest that into a particular, even just one university? Let's have a setup. Let's build these things. Let it be locally fabricated if we can. I know it's not impossible for us to, because if these things were coming from a country, who says it cannot come from Nigeria to the rest of Africa? Who says it cannot be produced here in Nigeria, assembled here in Nigeria, and sent to the rest of Africa? Who said Nigeria cannot stand as a supply or a supplying joint, as it were, to every other countries, even across Africa?
I think it's very possible. Yes, because we have the brains in Nigeria, and I say this all the time when I have the chance to. Despite our Hydra-headed problems as a country, we have talented people. And that's why you see Nigerians, when they travel to Europe, to North America, South America, they are doing so well in the health sector, in engineering. As a matter of fact, these people would even give Nigerian scholarship, come and study, come and carry out research. But in Nigeria here, go to the National Archive in Ibadan. You will discover that, it becomes difficult for you to have access to some archival materials to carry out research. Some will even ask you to do some kind of things. The process for some libraries, not just in Ibadan, is rigorous. And then do we have funds, for research? That's another problem. Not like we don't have the brains, except for international, but I have friends who are researchers, but then they do not get their funds from Nigeria or from Nigerian government. They get it from independent bodies, grants, and so they carry out this research and they send it over. So we are using our brains here to develop other countries. A friend of mine who is a researcher told me something recently that, he was told that the newspapers that we read in Nigeria, the Punch, the Nigerian Tribune, there's an archive in UK. They are storing our dailies there. Punch, Vanguard, Daily Trust mention it. And so that means that it is possible that a time will come, if care is not taken, when you need those papers, when you need the newspaper of 2010, 2015, you might need to go there if we do not plan our lives well as a country. These people are doing all they can do to make sure that they are developing every single day. Imagine these people storing our dailies in their archives, except for, let's say, because of technology that we have in Nigeria today, you can easily access some of these things online, like your X, like your Twitter, like your Facebook. We need to do more in terms of research. We have the brains. We cannot even debate that. But then, the finance, is it available? And that's what, that's another conversation, really. But because of time, we need to go this morning, but we need to appreciate you for standing with us this morning. Throughout, a big thanks to you. My name is Uluwayemi Adelako. I'm going to see you on Friday. Bye for now.
And I would say it's not expensive to carry out research, to conduct research and make development and innovation in the country. If we have the ready minds and the willpower to do it, we can achieve just about anything. My name is Adolu Akpoido, saying bye for now.